Good evening, good people. Welcome again to my channel, and as always I want to appreciate you and thank you for taking time to be part of this. Our politics is taking shape, and the presidential race is coming out very clearly as a two-horse race, that of Raila Odinga and William Samoei Ruto. Both of them look very strong, and they are traversing this country, and they are giving us an assurance that they are both ready to lead us and to occupy the most prestigious house in the land, State House. In this particular video, I want to give my opinion why the Right Honorable Raila Odinga must work very hard not to become the President of the Republic of Kenya. Raila Odinga enjoys a fanatical kind of following. When he contested in 2013, and the courts declared that the elections were free, fair and verifiable, his supporters were dampened in their spirits, and they kind of gave up, because they argued that elections in Kenya, the presidential elections in Kenya, are predetermined way before the results are announced. And so when Raila wanted to contest again in 2013, it was very difficult for him to convince his supporters, because they were asking, what are you going to do different to ensure that the votes that we cast are counted? Because in their opinion, they thought the elections are being mismanaged in Bomas of Kenya. And so Raila Odinga and his team, the NASA team, among them Kalonzo Musyoka and Musalia Mudavadi, came up with a slogan assuring their supporters that they were very ready and they were not going to allow any of their votes, even one, to be stolen. He told them that this time round we have our own server and our own tallying center. And he told them this time round, when they count the votes, we will be counting. In fact, the slogan was wakihesabu tunahesabu, wakijumuisha tunajumuisha. You remember that slogan. And so this assured the fans, this assured his supporters that he was going to win these elections, unlike 2013. They went up to the polls. Contrary to what Raila Odinga had assured them, the Jubilee government still won the elections. Raila Odinga and his team contested the results, and they went to court. Luckily enough, the then Chief Justice David Maraga, a man with a heart that can only be compared to that of a lion, was so daring enough to nullify the election, something that had not happened before. In fact, it dominated all the newsrooms all over the world. Maraga and the Supreme Court ordered the IBC to make certain changes before Jubilee and NASA went back for another election. He also ordered that server should be opened. Nothing happened. And so Raila Odinga and his team refused to go back to the polls. Uhuru Muigai Kenyatta was declared the winner of that second polls. And so you can only imagine how difficult it was for Raila Odinga to convince his following that he was ready to contest for a presidency again. In fact, I can't imagine how Raila would have approached his supporters. I don't know what kind of assurance he would give them were it not for the handshake. And so when you know what happened, one thing led to the other, and Raila Odinga and the President Uhuru Muigai Kenyatta shook hands, the famous handshake. The fan base of Raila Odinga was very skeptical about this handshake. In fact, to date, some are still very wary. They're not sure of what is happening. But from the occurrences in the last few months, it is very clear that Uhuru Muigai Kenyatta is behind Raila Odinga and is supporting his bid to become the president. And so the fans who had decided that they were not going to vote because their elections and their votes don't count are now very happy because Raila Odinga seems to be in bed with the very enemies who he claimed took away and stole away his victory. And so the fans are so much rejuvenated because this time they feel that when they wake up very early in the morning, as early as 3, and throng the voting stations and the polling stations to cast their vote, they believe and they have faith that this time round the result is going to reflect their intention. So Raila Odinga has a fan base that is rejuvenated. Luckily enough for him, he has kept intact his followers, whether from Nyanza, Western, Coast, all the places that Raila called his backyard. It seems like they are intact. In fact, this time round, Raila seems to be climbing Mount Kenya, a place that has never supported him before. In fact, recently, you saw Raila organize a rally, a successful one for that matter, in Thika. And it was full to the brim. Politicians and Kenyans thronged that rally, and from the look of things and the body language, they were happy. And so the reason why Raila Odinga must work hard to lose an election this time round is that the fans are ready. His supporters are very ready. And they believe that the system will not be used against him. They will come out in large numbers most of them are being encouraged to go for a voter registration and vote on that day when they will elect their president. The second reason why Raila Amolo Odinga must work hard to lose this election is that having that kind of support solidly behind him, he has the support of the president. He has the support of the system, and he has the support of the deep state. From where I sit, I don't understand who or what the deep state is. I don't know what kind of animal this deep state is. But it must be a very fundamental factor in our Kenyan election. Why? Because of recent I have heard our deputy president campaigns and lamenting against the deep state. In fact, I listened carefully as the deputy president claimed that he knows the deep state more than any other person because he's the second in command. And so if the deputy president himself does not deny knowledge or existence of this animal called the deep state, I want to believe that the deep state is there. In fact, the deputy president in 2013 and 2017 must have been part of this deep state, and that is why he's wary about the deep state. And so the deep state and the system solidly behind Raila Amolo Odinga, Raila Amolo Odinga must win. You see, when you have the deep state, you are privy to some kind of intelligence. They give you a certain amount of leeway. I'll give you an example. Recently, when Raila was attending a mega rally in Buhungu Stadium, Raila Amolo Odinga paraded one person as an investor who, according to him, was going to make sure that Mumia's sugar company is revived. In fact, Raila Amolo Odinga ordered that in the next 6 months, Mumias should start working. I believe that Mumias is a parastatal, and that the only person who's got any mandate to make such orders is the president. And for Raila Amolo Odinga to talk about an investor, showcase him before that large crowd, I believe he was very certain and he was sure it is something that was organized and planned. Raila Amolo Odinga talked about fuel prices. There was a time the fuel prices went up, and Raila very courageously said that he was going to order the fuel prices to go down. And true to his words, the prices went down. So who is Raila Amolo Odinga to undertake such big announcements, and they happen as he says them? It only means that the president, who seems to be very keen on making sure that Raila Amolo Odinga ascends to power, feeds him with intelligence, feeds him with what he needs to do and what he needs to say, the kind of predicaments that certain areas are going through. And so if you have this kind of support, you can only but fail to ascend to power for reasons that only you know. The cabinet secretaries are openly supporting Raila Amolo Odinga. A good example is one Eugene Wamalwa, who is the Minister for Defense. The other one is Fred Matiang'i, who is the Minister for Security, Internal Security. You see, it is being argued that a cabinet secretary should not take any political position. They are supposed to be neutral. But that has never worked in Kenya. In fact, in every electioneering year, the cabinet secretaries always support the powers that be, the government of the day. And so, this kind of support that Raila Amolo Odinga is receiving from the president would mean that whenever he goes to campaign, even the facilities that he's using are aided by the government. The vehicles, maybe the PA system. Like we said, the president is the commander-in-chief of all the armed forces in Kenya. He will aid his security. That's why you see Eugene Wamalwa and Fred Matiang'i very actively supporting him, and they are very unapologetic about it. That is the reason why I believe that Raila Amolo Odinga must win the elections come August this year. I also want to believe that the third reason why Raila Amolo Odinga must win this election is because of his age. You see, William Ruto is younger than Raila Amolo Odinga. In fact, Raila Amolo Odinga recently celebrated his 77th birthday. It was celebrated all over Kenya. In all the regions where he enjoys massive support, they organized for a cake in his name. That celebration was attended by His Excellency the President of Kenya, and he enjoyed that cake. If you give Raila Amolo Odinga another 5 years, added to 77, that is 82 years. If you look at the enigma Amolo Odinga today, he looks a bit tired compared to how he was 20 years ago. He looks much wiser from the way he conducts his campaigns, but the body looks not very strong as he was before. And so if Raila Amolo Odinga does not get to the State House this year, then it is over for him. It is a do or die situation for him, because William Ruto still has a chance. In fact, most of the presidents in Kenya, the former presidents, did not win in their first attempt. If you look at Mwai Kibaki contested more than once before he ascended to power. The late President Daniel Arap Moi was lucky because he ascended to power after the death of our first founding father. Even in the US, the current president did not ascend to power on his first attempt. I'm not saying that William Ruto cannot be a president in his first bid. I'm not trying to say that William Ruto is younger compared to Raila, and still he has a chance. If he loses this year, he can still contest in 2027. So Raila Amolo Odinga must work hard. Now I'm saying that he must work hard to be the president of Kenya, considering his age. Because if he does not, there isn't any other day. He will be tired and he will not be interested in politics. He will not have the energy to conduct the kind of vigorous campaigns as he does today, or as William Ruto does it today. My last point why I think Raila Amolo Odinga should try and occupy State House is the resurgence of the Mount Kenya Foundation. You see, when you look at the Mount Kenya Foundation, this is a group of wealthy and influential persons in Kenya. They are in every sector. They own every sector. When you conduct your campaigns, for example, you want a full coverage and a wide coverage for your policies and what you stand for to spread across all the corners of this nation and beyond. You need to use media, both the print media and the audio. And if you look at the Mount Kenya Foundation, some of them own one of the biggest or some of the biggest media stations in Kenya. Some of them own the banking sector. Some of them are in the transport center. In fact, I want to believe that it is the Mount Kenya Foundation that is aiding and funding all the campaigns that Raila is conducting. Now, when you want to compare that to William Ruto, a very philanthropic politician who is using money from his pocket, you will realize that Raila Amolo Odinga is having a smooth sail because he doesn't use a coin from his pocket. And so, with all this support, the influence, the money, the president, all that I have mentioned, I want to believe that Raila Amolo Odinga must work hard not to become the president of the Republic of Kenya in the year 2022. If anything, he has always claimed that his elections have always been stolen by the system. This time round, they are dining together at the high table with the system. Don't you believe that he's poised to become the 5th president of Kenya? Those are my opinions. You may have a different opinion from mine, but the good thing is that we must talk about this together. I want to hear more from you. What do you think? Do you think it is going to be easy for him, or he must work hard? If it is working hard, is it working hard to win or working hard to lose? Please share your thoughts. If it is your first time watching my videos or your first time on this channel, I want to request you to subscribe to my channel. By subscribing, YouTube will notify you when I do another video like this. And by subscribing too, you are giving the necessary support that we're supposed to get. Our fan base needs to grow, and it cannot grow without you. I also want to understand how you want us to improve this channel, the content, the quality of the sound, the quality of the pictures and the video. Please, I would really want to see those who perhaps critic and tell me you need to do it this way, because by doing that we shall improve together and we will grow our fan base together. Keep on checking for much more videos in my channel, and until such a time, I want to thank you. Bye.